The movie begins by showing us a woman waking up in an empty, sealed room, like the ones we see in asylums. She calls for help, but no one answers. Suddenly, loud growls can be heard from outside, forcing her to crouch in the corner in terror. Growls sound like my ex when she was hungry. Then the lights flicker and the sealed door unlocks. She leaves the room and discovers that she's in an old industrial building with many other sealed rooms. She frees a man wearing similar clothes, but he's worried about the monster that was making those horrible noises coming back. He thanks her, but the woman tells him that his cell door was unlocked the entire time and that she didn't really help much. Then they try to recall their names or who they were, but somehow they can't seem to remember anything about themselves. They walk through the corridors until they reach a chain-locked door. On the other side, they find another couple dressed the same, who are also suffering from amnesia as well. The couples decide to split up to look around their areas, hoping to find a way out. They agree to meet back at the chain door if anyone discovers something. The new couple, which we'll call couple 2, finds another metallic door that has been ripped open. They also find an empty room with a board that has some words and a diagram, but they don't know much about it and carry on their search. They soon find a basement, and the man with the glasses decides to go down. Yeah, we all know how that ends. In the meantime, Couple 1 discovers a sensory deprivation room and starts hearing something or someone banging on metal and decide to go check out what it is. They soon find an unconscious man strapped inside a machine inside a lab. Woman 1 discovers that she can read x-rays and has some medical knowledge, while her partner finds some lab coats to stay warm. Woman 1 soon concludes that the man they found is brain dead and seems to have been experimented on. While searching for items, Man 1 accidentally drops a tray and noisily scatters scalpels. A strange man suddenly rushes into the lab and attacks the couple as he thinks they're doctors that'll use him as a lab rat. Couple 1 try to stop him by defending themselves with those scalpels, but the new guy's too strong. He manages to take Woman 1 hostage, but fortunately, before he can do anything to her, he notices that they're all wearing the same clothing and finally stops his madness and starts crying. It's the biggest ones who are the most emotional. Now elsewhere, Man 2 discovers a mysterious woman in a swimming pool who invites him to join her. His partner shows up and is suspicious of the wet lady. The mysterious woman tells him that she, too, doesn't remember anything, just like them. As she gets dressed, her shadow shifts to something monstrous for a second, startling Man 2. He quickly confronts her about it, but the mysterious woman tells him that they're all gonna perish in here. Back to couple 1. The big guy tells him that he has found a way out, but it's electronically locked. He further adds that he tried breaking that lock, but to no avail. Out of nowhere, the shadows on the wall stretch and assume the shape of a giant, and then to everyone's horror, the shadow materializes and impales him. Woman 1 tried to help, but her partner dragged her outside of safety. The big guy limps out to the doorway, but the shadowy tentacles pull him back into the lab and rip him apart. Now the shadow monster chases couple 1 through the corridors. Although it looks like it doesn't have clear vision, it somehow detects human presence. Couple 1 run until they reach the chain-locked door. Using a metal rod, Man 1 tries hitting the lock repeatedly, and thank God he manages to break it, and they barely escape the monster by leaping into a white room. And even though it managed to slash Man 1's arm, it doesn't continue pursuing him in the white room. Woman 1 sees this and bandages those wounds by cutting up part of a lab coat. When the coast is all clear, couple 1 make their way to the pool and discover wet footprints leading to a locker room. There they meet up with couple 2 and the mysterious swimming woman. They start telling all of them about this shadow monster, but the group finds that hard to believe. And now our mysterious woman soon starts flirting with Man 1 and says she knows another way out. As she goes to lead everybody, an untrusting Man 2 tells the group that this mysterious woman displayed something similar to the shadow monster couple 1 was talking about. But they decide to ignore that and just follow the mysterious woman. The lady leads them through the corridors until they reach a huge metallic door splattered with red liquid. Woman 1 goes to open this door and they soon come across a jail cell with a man chained against the wall. He's tall and intimidating, but he's asking for help. The group debates if setting him free is a good idea, because if he's locked up, maybe he's dangerous. Woman 1 decides to talk to the man and she soon earns his trust, and then unlocks his cell and shackles. Once he's out, they all try to understand their situation. Woman 2's wondering if they're all mentally ill and have been locked up in this asylum. but that tall man aggressively grabs her and says mental patients don't have bikini waxes. Well, hey, that's one way to tell if you're not mentally insane, I guess. The tall man then points to someone more dangerous than he is, a woman in the cell facing his. She's chained, wrapped in a straitjacket, and muzzled. While they debate on releasing her, the mysterious woman slips away. Woman 1 recklessly opens that door and begins to unshackle the mental patient. However, the shadow begins to move again, so they hurry up. The shadow monster soon appears behind the tall man and releases those tentacles. Fortunately, the tall man manages to evade him and protects the group. The shadow monster then targets Woman 1 and attacks, but the lamp explodes, blinding everyone with darkness, and a loud scuffle could be heard in the shadows. When Man 1 illuminates the cell, they discover the shadow monster fleeing after assassinating the mental patient. Woman 1 seems devastated at the passing of the patient. After they all run away to safety, the tall man corners the mysterious lady and attacks her, stating that she ran away because she knew the monster was coming and didn't help. Woman 1 convinces tall man to release her so they can discuss this situation. The group start arguing amongst themselves, but Woman 1 breaks up that fight and tells them that they need to work together. The group then start rummaging around and soon come across lockers with files attached. Each file reveals the identity of the survivors. Woman 1 is called Kate, and she's an actual doctor. Man 1 is a lawyer called Jack, while Man 2 is a programmer called Charlie. Woman 2 is a financial executive for a big firm called Stacy. Now, the tall man's a dangerous criminal incarcerated here called Steve, and the mysterious lady is called Amber, who used to be a professional model before suffering a mental breakdown and being institutionalized here. The straitjacket woman was a nurse, and the muscular man that attacked them was the chief of security. As they dress up, Charlie finds a handgun, but the felon takes that away, stating he knows how to handle it better than anyone around. Steve leaves with the gun, and Kate says they should follow him. In the hallway, the group hears a phone ringing and starts running towards it, hoping to get help, but they're unable to unlock the door to reach it. Amber then takes them to the room she woke up in, and they discover a two-way mirror. The felon shoots at that mirror, uncovering the room with the ringing phone. Kate picks it up, but there's no one on the line. Then they realize that they're in an observation room with red liquid on the walls. And strangely, we don't see any cadavers. The programmer, Charlie, discovers that the facility was conducting experiments to wipe patients' memories and cure them of their trauma. Amber was the first patient, Steve was the second, and Jack was the third. Charlie then tries to find more information, but only manages to find out that the experiment had been conducted on only 8 people. Kate comments that this still doesn't explain that shadow creature nor why they're here. Steve soon discovers that Charlie used to work as a technician at the facility, so he wants some revenge for being part of locking him up here. Kate convinces him to let him go, since he might be able to help him find a way out, and reminds Steve that Charlie's memory was wiped too, just like the rest of them. Now, after discovering a map, Kate determines that the only way out is through the main gate upstairs through a locked electronic door. Since they don't have codes to unlock it, Charlie says that he can shut down the power supply in the facility so that they can open the door that way. However, he would require another computer to do so. But Steve's telling him that's a bad idea, cause turning that light off might attract that shadow monster. However, with no choice, they decide to go ahead with Charlie's plan and split up. Amber and Charlie will stay in the control room to operate the computer, while the others head back to find another computer. Soon, they arrive at a lab where the old man is strapped to a machine, and surprisingly, the security chief's body is missing. Kate realizes that this is the mind-wiping machine which was used 8 times, including on the old man, but strangely, there are 9 survivors. Kate concludes that one of the survivors is lying about having memory loss. Steve's thinking that the one lying is Charlie, because he was the one who came up with the plan to turn the light off. So Steve and Stacy decide to leave and find an exit to make sure it exists. Kate then notices that the old man's tag reads Jack. So she confronts this so-called lawyer and asks who he really is. Turns out Man 1's actually the lead doctor who created the mind-wiping machine, and Kate is his wife, helping him out with those experiments. He tells Kate that they wanted to help people get a new life, but something went terribly wrong. They accidentally wiped Jack's mind, who was brain dead, and ended up damaging his spirit, which is now released as a shadow monster into the world, hungry to consume life everywhere. The creature goes on to assassinate everyone in the facility, except for people in bright areas, as the creature's weakness is light. So Kate decides to lock everyone in the facility so that the creature couldn't escape. But her stunt caused the survivors to be trapped in that facility awaiting their inevitable doom. Man 1 confesses further that he mind-wiped Stacy and the nurse after she had told Stacy, the person who was funding money to the project, that their experiment was turning unethical. Charlie and the security guards soon discover what he had done, and he went to mind-wipe him too. Kate's then asking Man 1 about her, and he reveals that he also mind-wiped her after she had turned against him. He then goes to turn the computer on. Just then, Steve and Stacy return, but Man 1 attacks Steve and takes him out. Kate goes to knock her husband out and tells Stacy to run. Soon, Charlie manages to unlock the main door and the lights go out. Kate goes to look for Stacy and finds her hiding in the deprivation chamber. Unfortunately, Kate's husband shows up with a gun and locks him in, stating he's ready to start a new life without her. Elsewhere, that shadow monster's chasing Amber and Charlie, but they manage to save themselves by jumping into the pool. They try swimming away, but Amber gets caught by that creature emerging from below and takes her away. It then attacks the deprivation chamber, but Kate's repelling that attack with a flashlight. Stacy panics and locks herself inside the pod. However, that monster follows her and assassinates her inside. At another part of the facility, Man 1 can be seen fleeing, but Steve comes out of nowhere and vengefully attacks him with a scalpel. However, he gets taken out once more and the doctor limps away. But his creation soon catches up to him and ends his life. Somehow, Charlie finds Kate and saves her from the chamber, and the two realize that they're the only survivors. The creature's blocking the exit, so the heroic duo charge straight at it with blazing flashlights, forcing it to shortly retreat. They quickly climb up the ladder and find themselves free in the woods. But the creature escaped as well and pursues them in the night. The shadows slither around trees seconds before it attacks. Kate and Charlie stumble on a log and are about to be impaled. Luckily, dawn breaks, and the sunlight weakens that creature until it's completely destroyed. The movie ends with Charlie and Kate laughing and realizing that they're finally safe. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. If you had a good time, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more awesome content.